What happens when you lose your GoPro in a snorkeling tour? And it won't simply stop working because of a silly mistake. And these are just 2 out of the 7 mistakes people make that not only can destroy your GoPro, but ruin your snorkeling holiday. Do you think your GoPro is safe in a snorkeling tour? Think again. This is a Facebook group with thousands of people that have lost their GoPro, and most of them lost their GoPro in a snorkeling session. And I know about this group because I was once there trying to find my own camera. All happened really fast. I was in Bali, my first time in Bali. I recently bought a GoPro just because of that trip. I was super excited. And when I was snorkeling, suddenly a fish just darted in front of me really quick. And I kind of reacted and just dropped my GoPro from my hand. And I had to see my GoPro dropping to the bottom of the ocean. And that's why it's super important you always have your GoPro attached to a floaty. So your GoPro, when it drops from your hand, floats on the surface. But not all floaties actually work. Check this floaty here, for example. It doesn't work. That's the worst floaty you can have. If you drop your GoPro from your hand, the only visible part of this whole floaty in the ocean is going to be this small dotted yellow here, this surface. So imagine trying to find your camera just by seeing this small dotted yellow floating in the vast ocean. You're not gonna find it. That's why I use this floaty here. This whole area actually stays above the water floating if I drop my GoPro on the ocean. It's way easier to find it. Once I thought I saw a shark and I immediately dropped my camera and went straight to the boat. Only minutes later, when the tour guide was telling me that it wasn't a shark, that we were safe, is when I thought about actually my camera. And thank God I was using this one here, because I was on the boat with a tour guide trying to find my camera that was already floating 50 meters away from where I originally dropped. And because I was using this floaty here, it was way easier for me to find the camera, and I was able actually to grab my camera back. The second mistake, you're not gonna lose your GoPro, but you're gonna destroy it beyond recovery. And the worst part is, if you reach out to GoPro customer support, they'll tell you it was your mistake and the warranty will not cover you. This didn't happen to me personally, but it happened twice with a friend of mine and other friends as well. So I know at least 3 to 4 people actually around me that happened to them. All those stories ended in the same way. They destroyed their GoPro and had to buy a new one. My friend Camila was on the snorkeling tour and she was super excited, but at the very beginning of the tour, she realized that her GoPro wouldn't turn on. She told me that she spent like 10 minutes trying to find a way to make the GoPro work again, and then she just gave up and had the whole snorkeling tour. Only in the end, she realized actually there was water dropping from inside of the camera. What happened to Camila and many others was, before she went on the snorkeling tour, she swapped the battery for a new one. But when she did it, she didn't actually check if the battery door was properly closed. And guess what? Water got in and it destroyed her camera. This happens too often, and to prevent that, it takes you 5 seconds just to double check if the battery door is properly sealed. Now, mistake 3 is related to your videos. Your videos make people feel sick when they watch them. And it's not figure of speech, they literally get sick watching longer than 3 seconds of your video. Once I just came back from holidays and I was super excited showing my best friend the footage of that holiday, showing the snorkeling sessions I had, adventures, and that friend looked at me and said he couldn't watch because he'll get sick just by watching it, and he was feeling a bit dizzy already. And the reason for that to happen is because, I don't know why, but when we start snorkeling and we have our GoPros in our hand, we become like children again. We simply can't stop. We press record button and we're constantly moving our hands, we're constantly moving our bodies, swimming from one place to another, and we see a fish and then record the fish and then record the turtle. Like, we literally can't stop. And this will happen to you in the same way it happened to me, and it happened to all of us. So when you're snorkeling, remember to stay still. Remember to hold your camera and just make one video without moving too much. And just stay still as much as you can. Have you ever paid attention how long you can watch a friend's footage when they show you footage from their holidays, a snorkeling footage? I can tell you, maximum 10 seconds. After 5 to 10 seconds, you're already feeling bored, so bored, because it's boring. All of the footage they record is boring. Every time you're recording a footage, do not record a footage that is longer than 10 seconds. And if you combine this rule with the other rule of not moving, you're gonna have multiple 10-second shots of something very steady. And for example, if you're recording a turtle, you can record a turtle from the sideways for 10 seconds, do not moving it. You finish those 10 seconds video, change the angle, record the turtle now from like above, and record other 10 seconds from above. And then change the angle again. And in the end, you're gonna have multiple 10 seconds clips from different angles of the same subject. How many GoPro accessories do you have? I have a lot. I have a dome, I have a protective case, I have a tripod, the mouthpiece, I have the chest, the one in the head, you name it. The problem is we keep forgetting that GoPro is a company trying to make money, and they want to sell us as many accessories as possible, and some of them are pretty useless. This beauty here costs $40, but you can't use it by itself. You need a protective case so you can attach your filter on it. The protective case costs other $60. So you would have spent $100 for nothing. The theory behind this filter here says that when you're snorkeling in the underwater world, you don't have the red color anymore. So the deeper you go, the less red color you have on your footage. And even though this theory is correct, the problem is this solution. This is a terrible solution, expensive, that doesn't work. Tell me if you can see the difference between one footage and the other, where one is using the filter and the other one is not. So there is such a little difference for $100 investment. I know video editing is complex, it takes time, but what if I tell you that if you edit your video for 5 seconds, only 5 seconds, it would change drastically your video from this to that. For some reason, when you are underwater, the color black and the shadows, they disappear. So you have all of this dull footage and video without contrast on it. If you adjust to bring the shadows back or the color black back, it would drastically change your video and quality will improve dramatically. And the good part is, most phones nowadays allow you to do this editing without having you to install any app or any software that is complex out there. You can just go straight to your phone, edit the video, and bring the colors back. If you watch this video until now, it clearly shows you have a passion for snorkeling. So I want you to take that passion to the next level. I'm giving to the first 100 people watching this video a 99% discount code for my underwater videography course. In that course, I show you advanced color grading using AI, for example, the best accessories and when to use them, the best camera settings, all of it to take your underwater videos to the next level. There are many camera settings in your GoPro, and we could spend 2 hours just talking about all of them. But there is one camera setting that to me is the most important camera settings of all of them. This one solves many problems at the same time and can truly transform your video to be excellent with just one simple setting. And remember how people get seasick when they're watching your video because of all the movement? This setting solves that problem as well, or at least helps solve that problem. It's the frames per second. I want you to adjust your camera settings frames per second to be 60. When you record a video using 60 frames per second and watch the video later, you're gonna see zero difference between a 60 frames per second and a 30 frames per second. The magic lies afterwards when you edit the video. If you recorded your video using 60 frames per second, you will be allowed to slow the video down on the edit afterwards, transforming that very shaky footage in a very smooth and beautiful underwater video. The boring part of it, you need editing software to actually slow your video down. You can't just do it on your phone. But you can use CapCut. CapCut is very simple, it's free, and it's very easy for you to just slow your video down using it. And now let's cover a bonus mistake. This mistake is actually quite serious and it has nothing to do with GoPro. It's more related to snorkeling in general. But it's one mistake that if you commit, you might end up like me, stuck in a hotel room for 7 days just taking pills and trying to recover from. So watch this video here and see what I'm talking about.